The GOP experienced, as you know, a seismic shift as Kevin McCarthy was historically ousted as Speaker of the House. And Steve Scalise, despite this kind of long-time rivalry with Kevin McCarthy, was narrowly voted as the nominee for the Speaker over Jim Jordan. And Scalise barely won this nomination, Kevin, securing 113 votes against Jim Jordan's 99 in that secret ballot.
Yeah, Tom, is the GOP a house divided, or are there just a few people in the party who are creating chaos? And is the chaos good for the party? Representative Steve Scalise of Louisiana emerged as the nominee, but not without a smattering of dissenting voices. Let's bring in Roshini Rajkumar, political strategist, lawyer, and host of the Crisis Files podcast. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Good to be with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here. I thought the urgency of getting support for Israel might unify the party instantly, but some wanted to be heard standing firm on spending reductions.
Right. And I mean, this is the thing that is so difficult to watch right now, that there are so many national and global events that take importance, and our Constitution lays it out that that is the power of the Congress. So when there's no speaker and there's inactivity or really things grind to a halt, no action can happen. This hurts the American people. This hurts the world. And this is what is standing in the way. It's electing the speaker. So I hope that everyone in that body, not only the Republicans, but all of them, understand why it is so crucial to get this position, this leadership role filled ASAP.
Matt Gaetz, when he got his gang together to vote Kevin McCarthy out, said he was sick of all these deadlines, the same old, being forced to pass continuing resolutions because of deadlines near the holidays. Now you have a national crisis, an international crisis. It's sort of like another deadline. Do you think that will force them to move off their position?
Well, Kevin, it's so hard to believe that there's anything that could force them to do anything. If the current events of the day, the events of the last week don't move these people, I just don't really know what can. So that is what's frustrating. But here's the long game on this as we futurecast a little bit. What the Republicans do right now is going to absolutely help or hurt them in 2024. So they need to come together as a party, get their act together, because it's not only about the Republicans, it's about the whole country, it's about the American people.
So you're looking at 2024 potentially, this leadership upheaval impacting the very next election. What do they need to do then to get a positive outcome, and what might happen, or what might lead to a negative outcome in 2024?
Tom, it is a great question that you ask, and here's the thing. There are two parts to this, because there's the very polarized two parties, okay, or at least some of the elements within each of the parties that really try to take us to the extreme. But the American people, for the most part, most of us are somewhere in the middle. We want to see adults working on behalf of us. We don't want to see childish games. We don't want to see politicking. And so step one, what they do now in getting someone who's reasonable and rational, because remember, the Speaker of the House is very closely in line to being president of the United States if something would happen to the president and the vice president. So it is a position of great importance, as well as I want to see a calm, like let's say a cool hand Luke. I'd like to see a calm person in that role. So if the Republicans decide to elect another very volatile person, then we are going to have more problems, not only now, but as we head into 2024 and the Republicans try to make the case that they should take the White House.
Both parties have their divisions, and we're seeing it right now at the Democratic Party with what's happening in Israel. There's some outliers there who don't support they don't support really condemning very forcefully what Hamas has done. Yet there is seriously division within the Republican Party as well. Do you think the Democrats are going to leverage what's happening right now in the House and the speaker issue? Within the division within the GOP in their future political and maybe legislative endeavors?
Oh, you better bet your bottom dollar on that one, Tom. They're absolutely going to leverage it. And this is what's so disgusting about what's happening in Washington right now is one party does something, the other tries to just blow that up into something that it is or isn't for the benefit of the opposite party. So this is just a time that I get very nervous. We're getting close to, the shutdown issues, where we have this Israel war. And we're getting close to the end of the calendar year. I mean, there are so many things that are going wrong for you if you are an elected official right now. Try to make as much that you can control to go right. So if they can meet, even behind closed doors, and figure out what they want to do so that when they come out to the public, when votes are happening or when press conferences are happening, neither party looks idiotic at a time that the world needs the United States to have some rationality.
Yeah, Steve Scalise, Kevin McCarthy, Jim Jordan. Do voters see these candidates as wildly different, or do they not really care who the speaker is as long as they do the work of the people?
Well, yeah, I mean that's an interesting question. I have to kind of remove myself as a political scientist and lawyer. I really do understand the Constitution, but I have to probably admit that not every American really has dug into that role of what the speaker is supposed to bring to the table. But when you just mentioned those three men who you named, Kevin, they are three very different people and they have different kinds of personalities. Now, we've seen Jim Jordan has the backing of President Trump. So, what goes along with that and a vote for Jim Jordan is any of the baggage, good or bad, that Donald Trump brings with him. The other thing I find interesting is that Jim Jordan is saying to his supporters, vote for Scalise. I mean,
Right.
this is what is very interesting about this entire ordeal.
Yeah, he's very much a party guy. He wants, I think, to do what's best for the party in his mind, what he believes is best for the country, and he's willing to step aside and say, "Hey, I know you guys support me. I didn't get the vote, so support Steve Scalise in this." Once this is all wrapped up and done with, what is the message that the GOP needs to communicate to both its based and to some of the undecided voters to present a really united front?
Well, they definitely need to communicate in whatever words they're going to use something about unity. Now, my recommendation to him, if you were my client, is look, Steve Scalise almost died playing a fun sport with some of his colleagues years ago. I would use that message. Look, I nearly took a bullet for my country. I nearly died for my country. I survived that. Put me in. Let me be the calm, rational adult in the room to help bring not only our party but the country together. That's the messaging I would recommend to Scalise and his people, both behind the scenes with his fellow Republicans as well as to the rest of us.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully the Republicans will hold the Democrats accountable to spending.
yeah, we hope so.
Yes.
Roshini Rajkumar, political strategist and host of the Crisis Files. Roshini, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.